What if I told you that the company behind ChatGPT, the tool you probably used this morning, was never meant to make money? What if I told you it was born as a charity, a non-profit organization with one beautiful mission: save humanity from the dangers of artificial intelligence? Sounds noble, right? Now, what if I told you that same charity is now worth over $1 trillion, and the two men who built it are tearing each other apart in courtrooms? This is not a story about technology. This is a story about betrayal. About two of the smartest people on the planet who shook hands over a dream and then watched that dream turn into a weapon they each wanted to aim at the other. The year was 2015. Elon Musk, already one of the most powerful men in the world, sat down with a young tech prodigy named Sam Altman. They shared a single burning fear. Google had just bought DeepMind, one of the most advanced AI research labs on Earth. Musk believed that if one corporation controlled artificial intelligence, it would be game over for the rest of us. Imagine a single company holding the keys to a technology smarter than every human being who has ever lived combined. That was the nightmare keeping Musk awake at 3 in the morning. So they made a pact. They would build an AI company that belonged to no one, not to shareholders, not to billionaires, not even to themselves. They called it OpenAI, and the name was a promise: open, transparent, free for all of humanity. Musk pledged $1 billion of his own fortune. Other tech giants lined up to join. The press called it the most important non-profit since the Red Cross. The world believed that a group of idealists had finally chosen humanity over profit. But here is the first crack in that beautiful story. From the very beginning, there was a problem that nobody wanted to talk about. Building artificial intelligence is not like building a website or coding an app. It is one of the most expensive scientific endeavors in human history. Every time you make an AI model smarter, you need more computing power. More computing power means more specialized chips. More chips mean more electricity. More electricity means more money. And the cost does not grow in a straight line. It explodes. It doubles, then doubles again, and then doubles one more time. In the early days, OpenAI survived on donations and goodwill. Brilliant researchers accepted lower salaries because they believed in the cause. But the math was brutal and unforgiving. Training a single advanced AI model could burn through tens of millions of dollars in a matter of weeks. And that was just the beginning. The models they truly dreamed of building, the ones that could reason and think, would cost billions. A non-profit fueled by donations simply cannot pay a billion-dollar electricity bill. It's like trying to launch a rocket with pocket change. This is where the fairy tale begins to fall apart. Because when the money runs dry, ideals become negotiable. When the bills stack higher than your principles, promises bend. And when $1 trillion is sitting on the table, even saints begin to sweat. Musk recognized the crisis before anyone else. His solution seemed logical on the surface. He proposed folding OpenAI into Tesla, his electric car empire. Think about it for a moment. Tesla had the cash. Tesla had the computing infrastructure. Tesla was already pouring money into self-driving technology, which required enormous amounts of AI research. A perfect marriage, at least through Musk's eyes. But Sam Altman saw something entirely different. He saw a billionaire trying to devour their shared dream in a single bite. If OpenAI became a division of Tesla, it would no longer belong to the world. It would belong to Elon Musk. The open-source promise they had made to humanity would quietly become Tesla's private property. The non-profit mission would suffocate in a corporate boardroom. So Altman said no. And that single syllable, that quiet act of refusal, lit the fuse on one of the most explosive conflicts in the history of technology. Musk did not handle rejection gracefully. He pulled his funding, he stepped off the board, and behind the scenes, he began planning a response that would take years to fully reveal itself. But do not make the mistake of casting Altman as the hero just yet, because what he did next was arguably worse than anything Musk ever proposed. At least Musk was transparent about wanting control.
Altman kept the non-profit sign hanging above the door, smiled at the cameras, and then quietly began constructing something that would make Musk's attempted power grab look like a minor disagreement over lunch. The question you should be asking yourself right now is not who was right and who was wrong. The question is this: if both of them were willing to abandon the mission this early, what does that tell you about everything that followed? Hold that thought, because the betrayal has barely begun.
Now, before we go any further, I need you to understand something. This is not some distant boardroom drama that has nothing to do with you. This war between billionaires is reaching into your pocket, your job, and your future right now as you listen to these words. Let me paint you a picture. You wake up tomorrow morning. You check your email. Half the messages were written by AI. You drive to work. Your car's navigation, its safety features, its insurance calculations, all powered by AI. You sit down at your desk. Your company has just replaced 3 people in your department with a software tool that costs less per month than one person's daily coffee budget. Your boss smiles and says the company is more efficient now. You smile back, but inside you feel the floor shifting under your feet. This is not science fiction. This is happening right now in every industry, in every country. And the company at the center of this tidal wave is OpenAI. The tool called ChatGPT, which over 100 million people use every single week, is only the beginning. Behind the scenes, OpenAI is building something far more powerful, something called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence, a machine that does not just answer your questions, a machine that thinks, that reasons, that could, in theory, do any intellectual task a human can do, but faster, cheaper, and without ever needing sleep. Now here is the part that should make your blood run cold. The company building this world-changing technology started as a non-profit with safety as its #1 priority. Its founding document said in plain language that if the technology became dangerous, they would shut it down. They promised the world that profit would never come before human safety. That was the deal. That was the contract between OpenAI and the entire human race. That contract is now shattered, and nobody asked for your permission. When OpenAI converted from a non-profit to a profit-driven company, it did not just change its tax status, it changed the fundamental incentive structure. A non-profit answers to its mission, a for-profit company answers to its investors. And OpenAI's biggest investor, Microsoft, did not pour $13 billion into this venture because it cares about your safety. Microsoft invested because it wants to dominate the next era of computing. Every dollar of that investment comes with an expectation of return, and returns require speed. Speed and safety are natural enemies. Think about it like this. Imagine you're in a car racing down a mountain road at 200 miles per hour. The non-profit board of directors was the brake pedal. They were the people whose only job was to say, "Slow down," when the curves got too sharp. In November 2023, that brake pedal was ripped out of the car. The safety-focused board members who fired Sam Altman were themselves removed within days. The people who tried to pump the brakes were thrown out the window, and the car accelerated. You are a passenger in that car. So am I. So is everyone you know. None of us were given a choice. None of us signed a consent form. None of us voted on whether a trillion-dollar corporation should get to decide the future of human intelligence. And the cost is not just theoretical. It is already showing up in real numbers. Millions of jobs are being restructured around AI tools right now. Financial markets are being reshaped by algorithms that learn faster than any human trader. Your personal data, every search you have made, every conversation you have had with a chatbot is fuel for these systems. You are not the customer. You are the raw material. The scariest part is that most people still think this is about convenience. They think ChatGPT is just a clever helper that writes their emails and summarizes their documents. They have no idea that behind that friendly interface, a war is being fought over who gets to own the most powerful technology ever created.
And in that war, your safety, your job, and your privacy are not the priority. They are the acceptable cost of doing business. So when I tell you the story of how OpenAI went from a charity to a corporate beast, I am not telling you ancient history. I am telling you the origin story of the force that is going to reshape your life whether you pay attention or not. And trust me, you want to pay attention, because what happened next is where the real darkness begins.